I'm Sun Cooper. I am the founder and director of Sun Literary, a visionary women-led agency specializing in creative, multicultural publications that cultivate shared progress. What you are putting out, the memoir, is actually for your reader. You are gifting to the world, to readers, your story. This is a gift from you. The purpose is for other readers to experience this. Not only a raising of awareness, but to create change in our culture, in their specific world. This is your story. So you share what that means for you. And we're not going to define that for you in any way because this is so deeply personal. When you are sharing from your personal experience, this is something that I approach with deep respect and boundaries and sacredness. I'm always thinking about the motifs and the metaphor because they're so powerful. I think about holding up a mirror. One of the things I wanted to offer today is a little bit of structure now to what your memoir could look like, to provide some scaffolding to help direct you and also channel all of the decisions you're making, the stories you're choosing, the scenes you're choosing, beginning at an apex moment. The rationale behind making the first chapter an apex moment is because you are bringing the reader immediately into your story, into the tension, the conflict, the need, the urgency, and you're going to take your reader through to a resolution. That's ultimately what you're doing. You're offering resolutions. These are our ideas for how this could have been. You're getting your reader engaged right from the beginning. Immediately engaging your reader, immediately engaging their interest, their curiosity, their investment, emotional investment. In a 10 chapter cheat sheet, you open with your first chapter, an apex moment. What I'm going to propose is a 10 chapter cheat sheet that will give you an idea of how your memoir could begin to be structured. Holding your stories, your scenes and moments in one hand. In the other hand, now we're going to talk about memoir structure. Okay, and these are going to begin to overlap and they go together. The thing we want to remember about your life, there's so much. You could write volumes and volumes. So the challenge is choosing what you're going to share and why. That's where the memoir structure comes in and offers that antidote for you. And the thing we want to remember about a memoir is that it has to have a narrative arc. We're starting somewhere. We're going to take the reader all the way to the end. It's going to be an arc. Things that happen to you in your life, and then a resolution of sorts. 10 chapters creates an arc. It gives you that structure of creating a narrative arc. The first chapter is the introduction, inciting incident, apex moment, flashback. Second chapter, childhood, adolescence. Third chapter, the path, starting on the path. Four, escalation, things aren't working, encountering difficulties, escalation. Chapter 5, more escalation. This is how big the problem really is. We're discovering this. 6, hurdles and problems. You're beginning to encounter and try to resolve those hurdles and problems. Chapter 6. Chapter 7, turning point. This can be internal, external, both. Chapter 8, path forward. Path towards resolution. Chapter 9, resolution of some kind, even if it's just internal. We see what it is. We recognize this reality. This is how we are resolving that. This is how I'm resolving that. dealing with that. Then reflection, where we are now, life after this resolution. Has the resolution worked? What has changed? What hasn't changed? And your reflections, wisdom, insight on that. Taking those 10 chapters, if we want to look at a first half and a second half of your book, the first half of your memoir is those 10 chapters. What if you take each chapter, your first 10 chapters, in your second half, you speak to each one of those chapters, you hold up a mirror. This is what could have happened. This is what could be different. This is the outcome that could have happened. This is what could be different. This is the dialogue we need to have. Okay. In each chapter, taking that first half, holding up a mirror, say this, these are our ideas. This is what we've learned. That could be really powerful. And even if you just wanted to write one scene, if you just really wanted to narrow in every time after a scene, you can reflect on that. With this particular structure, though, in your reflection, that's where you're going to start posing the questions. This is how I'm feeling. This is how I felt. These are my questions. Here's what we need to talk about. Those kinds of things you can begin to save for this second half, where you are going to start opening up that dialogue of here's how it could have happened. Here's what people did that didn't work. You can address, here's where somebody stepped in and they absolutely did the right thing. You can begin to think about it that way. Think about it in a thematic way. When you're looking at your chapters, think about your scenes that actually happen, moments that actually happen. That's the tough part about writing your memoir, is choosing what you're including and what you're leaving out. Because the reality is that you're leaving out a lot of your life. You're really just offering your readers a piece, a scene that speaks to something particular that you want to address, what your message is to your readers. This is just the starting point. You're opening up the dialogue. You're starting somewhere. Think about who your audience is when you start talking about the scenes, what's happening, and then you reflect on it. Just keep a balance there. Always go back to the question, who is my audience? Who am I speaking to? And how much information did they need to understand what's going on?